If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed. Shall lead them
to buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are looking at the big homie MF Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Not going through a
the GoFundMe if anybody
discography per se, but yeah. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Don't forget the GoFundMe. I just posted the link again, so if anybody wants to help out, she has $613 worth of what she has left to pay for this semester. So if anybody wants to help out with that, that is Pony's friend from the channel. Next up on our list for tonight is MF Doom, Absolutely. This track is off the 2009 solo album Born Like This, but now you've most likely keyed in on Doom's unique approach to themes and lyrics. So we can just let this one speak for itself.
Okay, this one is Absolutely by our big homie MF Doom from the big homie Negative Vibes. I gotta say, Negative Vibes. I've been celebrating the eclectic nature of Mr. Doom's work, but I also have to say, considering all the other streams you've been a part of, you also have a pretty eclectic palette.
Yes,
like this guy, metal, black metal, all types of shit that he's been involved with, and like now we've got MF Doom, which is something completely out of left field. So shout out to Negative Vibes as well, and Riv, not last but not least, for having that sort of that palette, man. Like I feel like MF Doom. See, I keep talking about this guy. I feel like he would have been such a bridge to rap and metal if he really wanted to, because the nerdy aspect of him, where he's talking about, you know, Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Star Trek and all this other stuff and Danger Mouse, like that appeals to metalheads, you know, especially if he could have a D&D reference in there, and then the comic book references, as we said, the singer from My Chemical Romance is writing, like. So if he wanted to, he could have been like the ultimate like connector crossover guy, you know, if he would have given himself that chance. Okay. Absolutely by MF Doom. Let's do this shit.
Things take a turn for the worse.
Send it back where it came from.
We got shots fired down the street.
Alright, steady.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. If they get the villains surrounding them. Good to the last, drop nigglets. Hood to the blast, pop them bigot ass piglets. Go for the bosses, dicks are higher. Beat walkers still get caught up in the crossfire. get at the Sarge, he give the orders. The rest of them punks will quit the force and get slaughtered. Use stealth, play alleys, jet. We'd rather not alert them nosy fella rallies. Yet, keep the local random cases in each state. Skate to the beaches for the season and be straight. You on call, keep your Nikes on tight, no white. Anybody tell, get lighted on sight. The ringers on a need-to-know basis. No persons, places, things, and no faces. Get back, you on your own, acting alone. Back home, your family be provided for while you're gone. It's a price on all snitches. If you nice, bring back eyes, fingers, toes, and pictures. Send copies to those who singing the blues. Mothers and fathers who's unjustly accused. Our species is in danger. Wear gloves and strike in a city where you a stranger. Gotta let them fools know and send them a message, let them POWs go. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now you have your orders, do your duty. A new way to let the shot spray. A few drops a day, double espresso, DA latte. No smell nor taste, hardly traceable. Wait to waste a prosecutor paid to get the case pulled. Learn them a lesson for giving bros mad stresses. A long list of COs, names and addresses. A fake judge with many years on the bench and sent some good cats to the chair. Was aired in the trench. They say her tongue was teared out, smeared and drenched. The whole system scared and doubt and a fair stench. And she was tortured, some say post-mortem. The suspect took his own life before they caught him. It's real spooky like a real trife movie. Remember the part the Terminator killed Tukey. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. If they get the villain surrounded, son, to shed blood. Some will be shook and just look with their head in the mud. Red flood.
Villain.
It's one of the things we ran into the unknown. We couldn't get up the door pull as quick as we wanted to. And once we did finally pull the door and breach the interior door, there's a man trap inside of it. Basically, that man trap is a cage. Before we run in, we're stuck in there and they can shoot us while we're stuck in a cage.
Whoa, this is I've written a song like this, but I've never released it because I didn't want to encourage people to shoot police.
You should send it to Negative Vibes.
So I've never released that song because I was mad as hell when I wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is this one has a, it's saying the same thing as I said in the song, only he's a lot more clever and it's not as explicit about what should be done. Mm-hmm. Say it that way. So he says, absolute power corrupts absolutely. If they get the villain surrounded, then good to the last drop, nigglets. Hood till the blast pop, them bigot ass piglets. Right? So it's like young black children, he's using the term nigglets.
Yeah.
Hood till the last pop, them bigot ass piglets, which is good to the last drop. You know that coffee commercial, good to the last drop. Mm-hmm. So then hood till the blast pop, them bigot ass piglets, which is funny because growing up in, like in New York, it was so weird because we always knew who the DTs were. They'd show up in the hood. We never see them before. They'd always be in a Crown Vic or some dumb shit. It was always unmarked, and they're always sitting there. It's always two of them. So we, the hood OG at the time, Q, he sent me over. He said, "Go tell those two guys hi." And I was like, "Whatever," because he was a hood OG. Well, I'm not gonna listen to him. I was on 170th Street in the Bronx, so I went over, rolled down the window, and they're like, "What's up?" And they had their hands in there. Of course, I didn't know that they had their hands on their firearms. I had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
I was just going to go say hi to them so I could get my 50 cents and get my 50 cents soda at the bodega. Because anytime he sent you to do something, you always got a little reward.
Oh.
So.
How old were you?
8th grade, 9th grade. So I went over. Thing goes down. Guy's got his hand down. I was like, hey, how y'all doing? What's up? And they were like, they rounded up the thing, drove off. Right back at the same spot the next day, though. The exact same spot the next day. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know who they were till like weeks later. My friend Marcus was like, yo, you see them DTs over there? I was like, what? I was not street smart at all. Like, now, after years and years, like, it's learned behavior. Oh, yeah. But at the time, I wasn't street smart at all. Yeah. So I didn't know what was going on. Like, oh, these two, like, they were probably, I'm like, oh, they're white, so they probably didn't want to be in the hood. Like, he's like, yeah, but how do you think they got there? You think they got lost, nigga? They ended up at 170th. They got lost. Yeah. They drove by Plimpton Park and all this shit to chill out here. It turns out though that you know, Q and them boys, they were looking for them for weapon smuggling or some shit like that, because they had shot somebody, and
wow,
he was named as the whatever and all, and that's why you could never, to this day I don't know what his name is. So like you say government name, when you say government name, that means like your actual name that's on your social security card. I never knew that guy's name, not once. Somebody called him something and they was like, yo, he's like, yo, using my government, yo, chill. So I never knew the guy's name. But yeah.
And it was it was one of those things where when they said it, you didn't process it fast enough.
I didn't process it. I was like, yo, I was like, who's that? And he's like, yo, chill. So I never knew the guy's name. We lived around him the entire time.
Well, you when you showed up to my house, you went by one name, and then there was another time you went by another name, and I heard, well, your wife at the time, she called you one name.
Yeah.
And I remember after, I was like, yo, I didn't process that fast enough. What was that other name?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny. It's like people like, they'll mess me, so they'll use this name. They're like, ha ha. I'm like, oh.
I know something.
I'm like, okay, all right.
You're so brilliant.
I didn't actually see the value. I mean, I didn't see the value of that until later when I was going through courses or whatever, and they were talking about names and shit and like not reacting to names and all this. Like, it's a very deep process, and like I was like, yo, that guy was doing the certain methodology of like, and he was doing that. It was unbelievable. He's a street guy. But anyway,
wow.
Good to the last drop, Niglets.
Bye, JLB.
Hood till the blast pop them bigot ass piglets. Go for the bosses, dicks are hired. Beat walkers till get caught up in the crossfire. Beat walkers, you know, like they talk about a beat cop. Walker? You know, like a beat cop, like he's on the beat. That just means like you're an entry-level street cop. Okay, so it says, go for the bosses, dicks are higher. Beat walkers still get caught in the crossfire. Get at the Sarge, he gives the orders. The rest of them punks will quit and force or get slaughtered. So, like, this is like a whole, we're turning against law enforcement. We're not going after the regular beat cop. We want the sergeant and the rest of them. And we're gonna kill so many of these people that they're either gonna quit or get slaughtered. Like, we're gonna put them in a situation where we have more guns than them. Which, by the way, is how the Second Amendment was supposed to work. Like, all these people talk about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was designed for, this is the original line, you get a militia and all the rest of it, and, you know, you hear this line all the time, that the tree of liberty from time to time must be watered with the blood of tyrants and all the rest of it. And so what he's saying is, if you believe that the police are having this sort of adversarial relationship with a particular community, we have absolute power that corrupts absolutely, then okay, so there's more than us than you, so we'll go to war with you and we're gonna win because we have the numbers. Like, because if everybody that truly felt like that in the hood, like, actually did that. I remember one time we were driving, it was after Amadou Diallo got shot, and Sharif he was talking to a cop on the train. He was like, yo, how come you guys can't aim for the leg? He's like, they don't teach us to aim for the leg. If I'm gonna pull a weapon on you, I'm gonna pull a weapon on you. And it was just the three of us in the car, and me and Sharif were both looking at this dude, and he's looking back at us, and it was such a crazy, it was such a
what was going on,
like,
you know,
tense
like
moment.
when you talk about the materialism, and like the other, like what's happening beyond what's happening, like I wonder what was happening beyond that.
The three of us were just like, me and Sharif, like, we had looked at each other, and then we looked at him, and like, it was a weird, you know, and then the next stop, like, he got off or whatever.
I bet he did.
Like, because everybody was really emotional with the Amadou Diallo shooting. Everybody was really emotional during that time. Happened around 98, 99, and like, wow. And it was weird because, you know, we were still kids, so it's like, why couldn't you shoot him in the leg? Why'd you have to? And he's like, well, we're not taught. Like, he said it like it was an answer to a question, but it looked like it came out like too fast or something. Because like we didn't say anything to each other after that. We were just looking at him, and like, we never really walked around with any like fuck the police energy. Like, I didn't really hate the police until like I actually left New York City. So I didn't really have that kind of energy. Like, we didn't have that kind of energy. But that was like one of the first times like I was looking at dude like, he could kill us right now, and nothing would happen to him. But if me and him if me and Reef jumped on this dude right now, we'd go to jail for the rest of our lives, or we'd be dead. That was like one of the first times, like the whole power dynamic of like the absolute power corrupting absolutely and all the rest of it. Like that was the first time like we both kind of realized like, yo, they're not. And of course, like there's reasons they don't teach people to shoot people in the leg and things like that. There's a lot of factors that
the area is much larger for this.
There's a lot of factors that go into that. There's center mass. There's you know, putting down the threat. There's, you know, the danger of ricocheting and things like that. Like, you know, there's just so many things that go into why they're taught that way. But he didn't like say any of that. He just said we're not taught to do that. And I just remember like that was the first time I felt that rush. Like, yo, fuck these people, bro. Like, and I remember telling myself like, yo, I would rather die than fucking listen to these people.
I feel like that if we had motivation for figuring out another way, like maybe this is gonna sound like really whatever, but you know, like when you'll be watching like these shows and they like shoot something out, it's basically like a giant net that like wraps the person really fast. Like you're telling me that we can put people on the moon, but we can't figure out a way to stop somebody very, very quickly by entrapping them very quickly. Like we don't have the capability of doing that. We have to just kill them.
Yeah, I mean, in the Amadou Diallo situation, they were looking for a serial rapist. So there had been this guy that had been going around and really assaulting the women of our city, and it was an African immigrant type of person that they had as the outline. And so, you know, I understand, like, you look at the profile, if somebody's willing to sexually assault women like that in a city like New York City, like that means that they're absolutely willing to get violent, because not just that the rape itself is an act of violence, but the way that the culture is structured in New York. If you did that to somebody's girl, that guy must have had something on him, because you can't show your face after that. It doesn't care what gang you're. It doesn't matter. That's like Latin Kings. Like if you sexually assaulted a woman, they would take care of you themselves. That was in their bylaws. Like if you did that shit, if you did that as a Latin King, they would get you. Not that if something happened to a Latin woman, forget it. But like if you did that, your own gang would kill you. Like that's how.
To a Latin woman or to
anybody, they would just they would disappear you. So, like, if for somebody to go around, I'm looking at this from the cops' perspective. For somebody to go around and serially rape women in New York City in the ghetto, that person he's got to be carrying. Has to be. So. They cornered Amadou Diallo. The guy was an African immigrant. He didn't speak a word of English.
Oh, shit.
He was trying to tell them that he lived there, so he went and got his keys. They're saying, you know, get your hands out of your pockets, blah, blah, blah. You might as well have been saying, you know, Ana Mabara Shoilalaki. Like, he doesn't know what you're saying. And so they shot him. They shot at him 41 times. They had Glocks. I mean, they shot him 41 times, hit him 19 times. And then, of course, you know, they got found not guilty. So,
and he had nothing to do with it.
Diallo had nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, the girl got raped 2 weeks after that. So it had nothing to do with it. But to me, like when we were kids, so we were asking these cops, like as kids, like, why did you? You know what I'm saying? Because we were like, yo, there was a rapist running around, and everybody felt the tension in the city about this rapist. Like, we wouldn't let the girls take the train by themselves. Like, everybody was feeling that shit. Yeah. So we were kind of like, yo, like, we understand you had to find this guy, but why did you have to go that extreme? And then when that cop said that to us, man, we were like, yo, that was a real. My mom showed me the Rodney King video because all that shit happened around my birthday. But I didn't really connect it. You know, I didn't really have any fuck the police energy. I was just like, my mother was like, yo, this place is going to blow up. Like, watch. And she was right. But that was the first time, like, I was like, okay, like, fuck these people, man. And then we heard a cop was killed, like, a couple weeks later. And we were all, like, pretty happy about it. But, yeah, it was crazy. But this is, like, some sort of, like...
That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand
fantasy right here.
They're looking for some rapist, but because he fits... that basic profile.
Yeah, I think that's a training issue.
But I'm saying, like, if you don't shoot at the person, but instead you have something that's going to incapacitate them very quickly. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that we have a tool for that, but you see it portrayed in movies. Like, they shoot something and it's like this big net that just goes around somebody and. You know what I mean? You're saying we can send people to the moon and we can create stuff that can kill all of us on the planet, but we can't figure that out? Like, I feel like that we're just not, if we don't have the capability to do that, we're not trying very hard to find that.
No, I agree. With the leaps in technology that we have, if we truly wanted to have, if we really truly wanted to have non-lethal ways of handling shit, I think we could have. And I think you're right. We don't have the motivation.
No.
To do that,
so sick.
But see, that's what people didn't realize. Like down in the hood, like the cops had.
Michelle's pregnant! Yay!
What?
Hey, Vin and Sori. So my husband and I got some surprising news today. I hadn't been feeling well, and I noticed I was late. My doctor confirmed it today. I am pregnant again, my loves.
Oh, hey, blessed be the fruit. Especially after Kansas. Shout out to Michelle. That is great.
Congratulations.
I love that. Okay, so this is kind of like a fantasy of like killing the cops and basically getting away with it, because he says, to the rest of the punks, quit the force to get slaughtered, use stealth, play alleys, jet. We'd rather not alert them nosy federales yet. So jet means like run. Keep the local random cases in each state, escape the beaches for the season and be straight. Call up on your nightstand, yada yada yada. So it's like you're doing all this like stuff against the cops, you're killing the sergeants, yada yada yada, you're ending the police force, and then you go on the beach and chill. Like, that's a fantasy, that's not gonna happen. But he probably wrote that after, probably another Sean Bell or whatever the situation. Like, I know a couple rappers, and like others have done it too. They've written songs about like hurting police, and like I said, I've written about 2, and I love them, but I'll never release them. Yeah. One of them is like so hyped and whatever. It's like, it's not a good idea. All right, this is my favorite song so far. 9.7. 9.7.
9.2.
Shout out to M Death Fan. Gang, gang, gang. We shall return, dear listener. More MF Muff.